That's nice.
The motion to hire.
Oh,
Can we thank those families that came out and helped at
yes,
Pembroke?
yes,
at a
we should
time?
definitely.
Good evening. Welcome to the Georgetown School Committee meeting on Thursday, August 25th. Meeting is now called to order. The first item is a consent agenda, and it includes the approval of the regular session minutes of July 7th, 2011, and the acceptance of warrants 3V12, 5V12, 7V12, 9V12, 2P12, 4P12, 6P12, and 8P12. The chair will entertain a motion to approve these items.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? No?
No.
Okay, next is a student representative, which we will not have probably for about another month until school gets back in session and that all gets worked out. Anyone from the public who wishes to speak on anything other than an agenda item? No one? We don't have any public agenda items this evening, so the first one up is maintenance update with Mike Anderson.
Come on up, Mike.
Come on up.
We did a lot of projects this year, and you guys know because you just
You have it in your packet.
Yep.
walked
We
the
have a
school.
Yep,
long list.
absolutely.
If you'd like, I could name a few things that we did on our own that were actually slated out to be done by contractors, which I believe saved the school some
That would
money,
be great if you could go through those.
First thing we did was we aerated all the playing fields. We borrowed a piece of equipment from Boxford Highway Department, and so that was a savings of around $14,000 to the school because we did it ourselves.
Okay.
Another
Great.
thing that comes to mind is we saved a couple $1,000s with panels for a student who's hard of hearing that had to be transferred from Pearlie to Pembroke. The company wanted $2,000 to do it. We did it ourselves, so that was a savings of $2,000. And if you go through the list, you can see that I won't read them all, but there's quite a few projects that we did. We've done mulching, we've cleaned up the playgrounds, and some great volunteers cleaned up all the courtyards at Pembroke. The guys all worked really hard, and we really tried to give it our all and make it look good for the start of school.
Well,
The road, maybe you want to
Oh, yeah,
I was
the
gonna say,
road.
the-
Sorry.
behind the middle.
I went up there today.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
Two great things, I guess, is the garage got painted, and it looks
It's a
really
lovely white
good.
with blue trim instead of
Yeah.
pink.
And the Georgetown Highway Department put in a nice road up to the back two fields with help from Mirror Construction, who donated their equipment
Okay.
to be used by the
steps.
Highway Department.
And that's not the first time Mr. Merrick has, donated equipment for a
Yeah.
number of projects.
Yeah,
He's been
he's
very
very generous.
Merrick is his last name. That's very generous. He has a small business in town.
Mirror Company, yeah, it's
Oh,
behind
Mirror.
along.
Mirror.
Department.
Oh,
Mira.
Mira,
Mira.
George,
Mira.
and,
Yeah.
what's his brother? I forget his brother.
I forget.
I'm not sure, but they've been incredibly generous
Yeah,
for a
Marina.
number of years. I think it's always important to acknowledge the extra efforts of businesses in town that are supporting us.
Yeah, I mean, all the departments have really helped out, the light department, highway department has, paved some roads for us out back, and like I said, the light department's gonna put up a gate for us on that new road, so
Okay.
people can't get up there. They've also changed parking lot lights, they got all the parking lot lights at Pembroke working for us. So, I mean, all the departments have chipped in, and we've reached out to a lot of resources to try to
The
make this come together.
Sheriff's Department
Yep,
was
the
very
sheriff's
helpful.
department. They had a week's worth of 8 guys painting, cleaning, trimming, that type of thing, so. It's,
Painted all the parking lot.
Yeah,
yeah,
We did
All the
numbered and
new
lined-
numbers.
We
Yeah.
numbered and lined all the parking lots ourselves.
Do we have the equipment to do that, or did you have to?
Yep, no, we have.
We
the
have that
equip-
equipment,
We have the
okay.
equipment.
All right.
And we purchased a lot of new cleaning equipment for the school.
I saw
I
that
put that
list.
in there, and I mean, hopefully that'll make a difference, and, next year, we'd like to purchase a few more items to kinda, one thing is a cove-based scrubber.
It's on my list.
All right.
But seriously, it's made a difference to have the equipment that works, and we've tested out new chemicals to try to keep odors down in the restrooms and that type of thing, because,
Smells like bubble gum in
Yeah.
the bathroom at Pearlie.
yeah. I mean, you figure, it's
Smelled
like,
fruity at Pembroke.
like the Pembroke School there's only those
Better than what
two
it
sets of
usually
restrooms
smells
and
like.
hundreds
no
of
kids
kids.
in there.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's it's just something we have to stay on top of.
I think that equipment, just before we pass over that, I think it's important to remind the public and I guess thank the public for the override
Yeah,
money. This equipment was purchased as we identified on the override list that there would be some purchase of new equipment. So we took the money that we identified and we Mike did an inventory first, so we could make sure that we knew exactly what we had and what working order it was in.
Yep.
And then identified with that money what equipment was most essential. And it certainly made a difference. I know at Pearlie, for example, on the rugs, because they got a carpet extractor, those rugs have never looked better.
Yeah,
And the
they
stuff
look
that
good.
came out of them was quite amazing. And then the floors, right, Mike?
Yeah.
The wax on the floors.
Bought a new floor scrubber for Pembroke,
Okay.
and we tried new wax, which seems to really have a shine to it. So,
It's shiny.
yeah.
Is it? Nice.
So we've done a lot, and I mean, we're grateful for that money from the override, because it really paid off as far as custodial equipment goes.
That's great.
And staff, because
Yeah.
remember we added a person.
Yeah,
We
we
added
added
a-
a person
right.
at the high school.
And I toured the middle high school, so Barbie and Ann will speak about Pembroke and Pearlie,
Yeah.
and Dave more about the middle high school. But it was amazing to walk in there and see how clean everything was. And there are still some projects that are underway, but
Yeah.
I mean, clearly your efforts paid off tremendously. I mean, we can't thank you enough.
Is that rug ripped up?
The rug is ripped out, and the tile is starting to go down tomorrow,
Tomorrow, yeah.
and it'll be ready for Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
Where?
Right in
Like
the
from the front.
You walk in
of
the door.
Front door all the way down towards the gym and then towards the hallway past
in
the
the hallway. It
office.
looks. I mean, it doesn't look great now, but it will look
Yeah. It's
gonna look really
fantastic.
good.
And there'll be a new mat, like when you walk in, so that'll be nice. But it was amazing to see, like, the efforts of that you coordinated, but through Mira Construction and the Highway Department and the Light
Yeah.
Department. And I know that I'm forgetting, I don't have the list of everyone, but to everyone, the thank you is incredible. And people should walk by and see all the work that's been done. It really,
Yeah, and like
it's
I
impressive
said, I
looking.
mean,
It's very
there's some
nice.
other things we'd like to accomplish, and, I mean, we can keep going, we just have to stay on top of it.
Well, it's nice now we have seems
Yeah.
like we have a list and we have a plan, and we'll just keep going on getting everything done.
Yeah, and part of that inventory is some surplus items.
Right,
that
we'll
we'd
approve that
like
later.
to remove. The storage space is valuable.
Yeah, we've heard that.
Yeah. I don't know if you have any other questions, but.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you.
very
Yeah.
much.
Thank you.
It's great
Having
to-
Mike's been a great
Great
asset
to
this
see.
summer.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
you.
Mike.
Right, next is an update on the school building project. Chuck?
That would be you.
Well, hello again.
Hello.
We're glad to be here to give you a second update since we've started. We've had a very busy month, which is nice to hear. A lot has happened. I'll run down a quick list of things. What I passed out to you, it's in front of you, is a monthly report that we passed out to the Pembroke Building Committee, as well as the same report that goes to the MSBA that shows some milestones that occurred last month, things that are going to occur this month of August. That is last month's, it's July's report. The budget is updated as per the contracts that have been let, which I'll address in a minute, and I've also attached to a schedule the architect has provided to us for the tasks as we face the next few weeks, a month or two. The architect was selected in the past month, as you all know. It was very good news. It was a good meeting with the MSBA. The committee that worked locally here in town, I think, was pleased with the assignment given to DRA out of Newton, Mass. There's a firm that I've worked with a great deal, so I was very pleased. Very good firm, very professional, and I think you'll see good product coming out of them. Their contract was finalized and executed by the town as well as them. We negotiated a fee with them. We came in under budget, slightly under budget, but under budget, which is always a good thing. That's in there too. We're going to have some things coming to us as part of their work that's not included, but is budgeted in there. We have to approve a survey, which we will probably approve cost for a survey at the Tuesday building committee meeting. So that's very good news. We're really starting to make some good progress. We held a kickoff meeting with the MSBA. They actually came out to the school. We sat, we all met. It was an interesting meeting for a few of them because they hadn't yet to seen the building. They hadn't seen the building. There were two of their younger project managers. I'm trying to say this in the most delicate way. They had not seen an open plan building with courtyards before, because it is a unique building. There's a number of them in the state, so I mean it's not that unique, but they hadn't seen them. They were surprised as well. So it was interesting. It was good for them to see. It was a great meeting. We laid out a real plan with them and real goals, and they were very, very pleased. They kept calling our schedule aggressive, which we knew, but that's okay. We're still going to make it. The architect has committed all the resources he needs to make it, so we have no fears that we will not make the deadlines that they set down. A project funding agreement was signed. I know it came in front of your board, so you've probably seen it. The project funding agreement was signed with the MSBA. It's your contract with the state, with the MSBA, that allows you, that says that they're going to reimburse you whatever they agree to, and the percentages I don't know off the top of my head, so I won't come out and say, because I could be wrong and then I'll be in trouble, so we'll leave that alone. But the contract was signed, the agreement was executed, and it's in place, which allows you to start submitting invoices you've paid to date and all invoices coming up forward through the feasibility study, and you start getting reimbursed for it monthly. You no longer wait till the end of an assignment or the end of a program like we used to do. You are going to get your share of the reimbursement money every single month. It's great because it allows you to cash flow better, project cash flow, allows the town to not have to borrow as much money because there's positive cash flow coming through. So that's good. We're actually going to train tomorrow in Boston with a member of the finance department here in town and the business office from the school department.
Is Julie going to go tomorrow?
She is.
Okay,
She
good.
sent me an email today. She said she'd love to go, so it's
Okay,
great.
great.
So the three of us are going to go down. It's good refresher for. It's a good refresher for me because I've been trained 9 times on the system, but there's always something new, and again, I can be a resource to
Do you
both
know who's
members.
going from the town side?
Is it Mary?
I think it is.
Yes.
Yes.
Mary
The town
McNamee.
account?
Yes,
Town
the
account.
town account.
Okay, perfect.
So that's great, because that's who's actually going to input the bills and the whole bit, but to have somebody like Julie as a backup, in case she's on vacation, she's otherwise not able to do it, to have somebody else is a great thing. I mean, we don't see that a great deal, so I'm real pleased about that. It allows us to help you push money and invoices and things through the process faster. So like I said, we're going to go into Boston tomorrow morning for training, and that should go well. The architects team has already started to meet with the school staff. I think they've set up a meeting to meet with Don tomorrow or next week, I believe. They've been they'll schedule meetings with the superintendent's office and special education office directors and all the rest of them. They'll start to meet with everybody, because the key thing that's due is the educational program, which they will write in conjunction with the superintendent of what the school is envisioned and how you'll hope to educate within that school. That's actually due to the authority in mid-September, so it's going to go very quick. But we have a good template, a good outline, and we'll go from there. We had our first meeting with the architect here with the school building committee. They presented to us what's called the space summary templates. It's a huge spreadsheet. It's very involved and very elaborate, and Carl Franceschi, who is the principal at DRA, showed us the 3 options, which is there's the K-6 option, the 1-6 option, and the 2-4 option, because that's what the authority talked about.
2-5.
2-5, excuse me. I'm blanking here.
The current.
The current. And what they did is they take the enrollment that's been agreed upon for each one of those options, they put it into the spreadsheet, and it uses the formulas that the MSBA came up with how much square footage per child for each one of those things. It's not meant to be that's what you're going to get, so I didn't even bring it to show it to you today, because it's a real shot in the sky. I don't want anybody to get excited if they see the numbers or get concerned or any, because it's just what the authority says is the guideline. It's not a minimum, but it's the maximum they'll do for classrooms, but minimum for some other areas. It takes a lot of time to shake out with the authority over the next few weeks. So we'll have, next time I meet with you, next time you'll have me up, we'll have a much better handle, and the architect should probably come and give you that presentation as well. It'd be very good for you to meet him as well. So that's real good. Next month, like I said, is the key. Where the educational programming part will be done. be approved by the building committee. It'll come in front of your committee for review, and then we'll move right into the space planet. And we have submittals due to the MSBA of the number of alternatives and kind of alternatives. So since we have 3 grade configurations for the school, each one of those grade configurations will have at least 3 other sort of configurations of the school, whether it's a complete reno, a reno add, an all-new building. We have to do that for each one of those grade configurations. We could have up to 12 different scenarios to look at that will actually put square footage on it. We'll actually start to put square footage dollar amounts on. We'll do that next month. I mean, it's going to go that quick, which is great, and it's very elaborate. We have there's tools in place that we've worked with the authority for years to build that they love, and we're going to keep using them, and we'll just produce these. And we'll keep on flying. But it's busy, and it's good, and there's a lot going on. So I know I talk fast, but I know you have a long list of things to do tonight. If you have any questions, I'm here for you.
Questions?
No, it looks great. You know, it all starts with the goal is town meeting, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
then everything backs out
Yeah,
from
we
that.
back up from there.
What my comment was, you know, to everybody that's listening at home is, we go to town meeting on around May 7th for approval, so everything works back from there. So I encourage people to look on, I believe the school website is where the meetings are posted if you want to find out when the building committee is meeting.
Right.
And really start to educate yourself on the process that they're going through, because it's a lot of work, like Chuck had mentioned. They could come up with 12 different scenarios for us to start to consider. So it's not going to be just coming up with one thing and saying this is what you're going to do.
Oh, no.
I encourage everyone to really start either attending the meetings or at least educating
They'll be
yourself.
televised.
right,
And
most
did
of
we
them are.
talk, did we talk about a community
Now I
meeting?
was just going to get to
Okay.
that. I'm glad you mentioned
Okay.
meetings and reminded me. I appreciate that. We actually have scheduled building committee meetings for every 2 weeks,
Okay.
which at first the building committee members, I think, sort of looked and said, and here we go. But no, it has to be every 2 weeks, because we have to move that quick, and we have to get the right answers in front of the committees as they prepare their questions. We've actually got building committees meetings scheduled throughout September, and actually today, one of the co-chairs scheduled them for October and November for us already. And the first community meeting, which is when we invite and implore almost to have the community come to the Pembroke School. I believe the time, we're still trying to work out the exact time, but it's going to be the September 15th, the night of September 15th. Everybody will come in, and the architects will break off into teams. They'll give an initial presentation to the community, and then they'll break off into teams to talk about specific interests and concerns from the community members. They'll take all that information, they'll start to put it together, and they'll start to see how much of it they can answer and go from there. These are great things. We've participated in a lot of these. They're very interactive. You want to hear the people that aren't big fans. But even though you hear from them, you talk to them, they start to know that somebody's little listening to them. We've seen them start to change their minds and come forward. So it's very positive. We love it. It's a great opportunity for everybody to be part of the process, and we encourage everybody to come. So that's the big thing.
Okay, so everyone at home, September 15th, mark it on your calendars. It'll be at Pembroke.
That's correct. I think we
And
decided
they'll-
it was either 7 o'clock or 6:30.
I think it was in that,
It was around that
but
time.
more
We'll-
information
we'll-
will be
We put it on the-
available. We'll put it on our website.
So look at the school website to, check the time and verify the date, and also to check on the other building committee meetings, because like Chuck said, they're every 2 weeks, they're open to the public, and they're moving very quickly.
Yeah.
So, people really should take the time to learn about it and follow the process that they're going through, because it's certainly a huge task that they've undertaken.
And we're hoping to have most of them here, and I think we've worked out the schedule now that we're going to have most of them here, which is great, because it is televised and recorded that way. So therefore, if anybody has any questions, we're talking about setting up an area of the website where people want to provide some input or questions or things like that. We'll help go through those and funnel those out to the correct committees and boards, and we'll go from there with it. So,
Right. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you,
coming
Chuck.
my
in.
pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for all that you're doing with it, too.
Fun. I appreciate it.
It's a lot, and we appreciate it.
Well, Chuck's great, too. He's, any question you have, he gets right back to you. He'll come in and talk to us anytime we need him. So it's been really great for us to have him, with his knowledge and expertise.
Well, it's a great project, like we said a long time ago for Pat and I, because we both live next door. So
Right.
You have our attention whenever you need us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, next is the superintendent's report,
Yeah.
staffing update.
Yeah, in your packet, I put an update of the positions that we had open, and where we've hired someone. I put their name. There are a couple, as I note to you in the orange notes, a couple of positions we have not filled at this point, one being the reading coach at Pembroke. We're still looking, and the director of finance and operations, which probably we can talk about at this point too, Ann, rather than waiting until the end of
okay.
the meeting. And then the other is, we're looking for a .6 behaviorist, more like a long-term substitute to fill a maternity leave. That's proving to be a challenging position to fill for a lot of reasons, but we're also looking for a BCBA, and not everyone has that certification. So, other than that, we're in very good shape. We're very pleased with the very pleased with the new teachers that we've hired. The principals, I think, did an excellent job based on the people I met, and we had a new teacher orientation for them on the 24th, and I think they got a lot of good information. I think they're all excited to be here, and they're going to be ready to go day one. Do you have any specific questions about the staffing?
I think the middle school, we still have clerk typist.
Oh, the clerk typist, we hired a clerk typist today. Remind me her name, do you remember, Bri? Sandra Kelly.
Okay.
That's right. I remember her last name, just forgot her first name. Yep.
All right.
So I met her today and we hired her.
Okay. Okay. And then with the other issue, or I shouldn't say an issue, but we have an open position, which is the Director of Finance and Operations. At the last meeting, many of you may remember that we introduced a new Director of Finance and Operations who had actually accepted the position and decided that he had an alternative offer that was more intriguing to him. So that position is now open. We looked for more, we had ads run, and we had over 10 applicants. None of them, again, were certified with MASBO certified, I think.
Just state certified.
State certified. And that's something that we need to have to sign off on our reports and do several mandatory state filings. So we're now considering hiring an interim finance director that's certified, that can meet those requirements of our state reporting, and work with Julie in the business office, who has been interim, I think you noted, four times so far. So she's more than capable of handling the entire office and doing everything that we need, but we just need someone to sign off on the reporting. And if we rely more on Julie to handle that, running the office, we may need to look at, an alternative staffing scenario, which we're going to talk about in budget and finance and how that's going to look.
Yep, that sounds great.
But right now, we're looking for an interim. We have a couple candidates that we've interviewed.
I did put the name, the resume of one gentleman that Dave and I spoke to, and Ann briefly was part of that conversation. So, he's interested in continuing to talk with us. Was very interested in the position, a couple of days a week. So I think it's a further conversation that we just need to figure out how we're going to structure it, who's going to play what role. We have to, if we are interested in talking further, obviously what would the compensation package be. And one of the things that I would expect from somebody who's an interim, but in particular this gentleman that we spoke to said that if he were to be working with us, one of the things he would really want to do is to really help us find the next business manager. He would really help us with the search and where to look, and he would bring in some contacts, and I think that's a great advantage to us, because I'm sure he knows people who might be looking, or the kind of person we might be needing. So
The intent is still to hire a
full-time, that's right.
Director of Finance and Operations.
But at
that's
this point,
state certified.
the pool is really depleted.
We're at a tough time.
This is not the
for
right time to be looking for full-time business administrator.
But we're going to keep it out there so that people know that
Exactly.
it's out there.
Exactly.
Okay. The next would be school reports. And what I thought we'd do is, before each principal comes up, whoever the member that toured the school, just offer a couple comments about the condition of the school, and then the principal can give us a quick overview of what happened, or what they plan to have happen over the next few days. So first up would be Pearlie, Margaret Mayer.
Come on up, Margaret.
Hello.
Hello, Margaret.
Hello, sorry about that.
That's all right.
So I guess Barbie, if you want to start off with just a couple of comments about your
Sure.
school tour.
Yeah. It looked great. As soon as you walked in, everything was, put together nicely, which it normally is. Pearlie has a very welcoming, kind of calm entrance, I always found. The floors looked amazing, the rugs and the tile floors. The gym, perfect. Hopefully it won't leak, right? But we'll see this weekend,
Hasn't
as
yet.
Margaret pointed out. Some of the jobs, like downstairs and like the music, the art area, we couldn't really get into that because they just tiled.
Oh, they talk.
But it looked good. Overall, everything looked really nice. Upstairs, the library always looks impressive to me. The computer room, the one thing that I did say to Margaret as soon as I walked in, I'm like, oh my goodness, look at these computers. I haven't seen these. I mean, the towers on the desks were just, kids must sit down and say, what is this? This does not look like any of the computers I have at my house. They're just, they were old, but it looked beautiful. I mean, no dust, no nothing. Eric and the other staff members did an amazing job. So kudos to them.
Thanks.
Well, and absolutely, thank you, Barbie. And I would like to publicly thank Eric Stevenson, Jacob Hamlin, and Eric Pachillis, who also we were able to hire because of the override. And they did a phenomenal job cleaning, repairing, moving, and fixing. And Eric, a number of times, said that having that third person is what enabled the work to be done. Because in the job, it's part of what I don't think about, but some of it is safety. When you're moving things around, they have two people just to make sure they're safe. So if you have two people there, that means the work's not getting done elsewhere. So having that third person really enabled the work to get done. And then also thanks to Mike Anderson, who did an awesome job coordinating all the projects. We all gave him a list at the beginning of the summer, and then halfway through, it's like, oh, Mike, do you mind? I add a couple more things, and he
Poor Mike.
always with a smile and got everything done. And also thanks to Jack Howland and his crew for the outside work. They did lots of work that I'll get to later. So it was really a phenomenal job by everybody. It was awesome. Starting, as you all know, Jean Goss retired, and while nobody will ever take her place, I have hired Camille Early to be my administrative assistant, and I said to her, you'll never fill her shoes, but you'll create your own path, and she's done an
She really has.
fantastic job. It's been a seamless transition. She has worked in schools before, so when she kind of familiarized herself with the layout, she's taken right to it. So that's been awesome. We had a very successful summer program with our Pearlie Pals, with Jerry Spector Brady as the director. Many of the Pearlie teachers and assistants worked in the program as well, and there were over 40 children at various times in attendance, so it was awesome. Kate Donlin, our reading coach, facilitated 2 days of professional development on instructional strategies for balanced literacy, and another day on writer's workshop curriculum development. And then teachers participated in a third day with a consultant from Teachers 21. And I had phenomenal showing from kindergarten, first grade, and pre-K teachers at those things. And then Dr. Pedigo, as you know, a consultant from Melmark, just finished a 4-day training for assistants, and many of my assistants attended that also. The workshop was on working with children with pervasive developmental disorder. And then internally at Pembroke, as Barbie said, what was the music room flooded at some point in the year. The hall flooded, so the carpet was taken up, tile was installed, and Eric has put the wax on, and it looks phenomenal. And then we had replaced tile in another room upstairs in one of the pre-K rooms, so carpet was taken out, tile put down. Fantastic job. Ms. Power and Mrs. Shelton, who were upstairs, they have now moved downstairs. And Mrs. Harding, who was in kindergarten, has moved to pre-K. The music room, which was downstairs, has moved up into the second floor. The computer lab, which evidently at one point was in one of the classrooms, but had moved into the back reading room, we've moved that back into the computer lab. So in the library,
The library is
The
beautiful.
library is just spectacular anyway, so it's nice
so,
to
and
see
that was spectacular. And now, where the computer lab was, now we have a reading room, as I've called it. So it's absolutely beautiful. And I was telling Barbie that we've put a couple tables, more adult size, so that we will use it for the reading room during library time, but also it's a place that adults can go. Maybe PTA could go to meet, when the library isn't in that spot, or just in the evening. We do have the teacher's room, but this is just another beautiful area to go and hold meetings. So I'm putting it out there that, again, working around the library schedule, but that space is available. Let's see, what else up there? Down on the first floor, where there was a workstation, last year we turned half of it into a leveled book room. And so half of it was the leveled book room, half of it was the workroom. Well, this year, I'm happy to say we've expanded so much our leveled library that we just didn't really have room to do both. So I've taken the workstation out, moved that into a work area down closer to the classrooms, and then we've expanded our book room. And then what was the music room downstairs and is newly tiled will now be a motor room. Again, years ago, there was a motor room, and in a primary school, that is an absolute necessity. So I'm very happy to say that we've done that. And then a few days ago, Kim Leonard and I met with the Director of Early Intervention, and starting September 6th, we will host a early intervention play group again for 6
That's great.
EI children and then 3 community children. So they will meet, then simultaneously parents participate in workshops and training, and then it will give us an opportunity to get familiar with the families, and hopefully that will be an easier transition for children into Pearlie. So we're excited about that. And I've changed the lunch and recess schedule to allow all children to have recess before lunch. But I didn't want to have 100 children in the lunchroom at the same time, because our cafeteria is so small, we only have one entrance. So I'd have 100 children waiting to go through the line. So I've kind of reconfigured the block, so I have an hour for kindergarten in 20-minute segments, and I've created an intervention time so that 2 classes start an intervention while the other 3 classes go to recess, and then they kind of just rotate around so that everyone has the recess first, but then there's also this built-in intervention time. So an hour for kindergarten, an hour for first grade, but they're not all together. So I'm excited about that. And what that will do, is we know it gives children the opportunity to get out their energy, build up their appetite. When they come in, they'll hopefully eat better. And then at the end of lunch, we're going to build in a responsive classroom component, and that is that the last 5 minutes of their lunch is a time to kind of lower the lights, let them collect, reflect on the morning, reflect on recess, reflect on lunch, and then kind of get them in a nice, calm place so that when they go back to their room, they're ready for the afternoon. Ellen Bazillion is going to, our PE teacher, is going to be teaching a bully-proofing curriculum to kindergarten and first graders. And not only is that a part of the new regulations, but it also will complement our responsive classroom curriculum. And Ms. Preventure, who's a first grade teacher, attended a responsive classroom workshop this summer, and she and I met the other day and talked about some new routines that we can not only add to our community gatherings when we gather as a school, which we did last year. We started running the school-wide meetings like the morning meeting in the classroom. But we talked about other ways that we can incorporate that in our professional gatherings. So when we meet as a faculty, things that we can do to mirror the responsive classroom. So I'm looking forward to that. And Mr. Belanger, who continues to be an awesome resource. And a couple weeks ago, I was visibly shaking when he said, I'm going on vacation for 2 weeks, and I'm like, no! And then the next day, I was so happy because he showed up, there was a problem, so.
The poor guy.
But he did take a vacation, but before he left, he and I did a lot of work together, streamlining our website, and it is our goal, and with our school council, we've talked last year about going paperless. So we've been preparing everybody. It's really Mr. Belanger's goal to get the menu online and not to hand that out every week. So that will take some training to, check the website, and there are things that we're doing to streamline that. And he's also convinced me to start a blog. And he said, that's only a couple of sentences. It doesn't have to be huge. And if I get in the routine every Friday, just do a couple sentences, it's manageable. So I'm going to try it. Then outside in the back, a curb was built around the play structure so that because what was happening, it would rain and then the water would pool all down into the mulch, and there would be like a swimming pool. So a curb was built up, we have new mulch, added a couple inches, and so that's nice and clean now. And then lines were painted on the playground for Foursquare and Hopscotch, which evidently
Really
years
good.
ago had been there,
good.
and
Nice.
teachers have been wanting, and so I got that done.
And those, I don't know if they were planters or there were trees that were there at one point. It was, Peter Durkee
Yeah, they ripped them out.
ripped them out
So
and
much
paved
better.
over it, so it's nice and smooth there now.
Right.
Oh, that's
As I was
good.
saying, that was another spot when it rained, that would be like a swimming pool for, two of them. So that's nice and clean in the back. And then on the side by the kiosk, there were bushes that had died. Those were cut down, mulch was put in, it's been weeded and looks great. And Barbie and I were talking that one of my goals this year to talk with PTA about, and not that they would do it, but together my goal is out the kiosk door when there is that area of grass that's usually not grass, it's
The mud.
usually mud.
Yeah, there's grass there now, though. It actually
There's
looks
grass, and I think
good. It won't last.
part of it is, well, in the spring, when the flowers were coming up, we did cordon it off so that people weren't walking on it, and it kept it, fairly clean, and now grass has grown. But it's only a matter of time when school opens, and, there's nothing there to mark that. And we want people to come, and we want it to be a busy place, so it's just not feasible to have that be a grassy area. So I would like to have the memory bricks. You've probably seen those, like in the centers of town around flagpoles, that you buy a brick. If a family buys a brick, you buy it in memory or in honor of somebody. So I would love to do that, and then brick in portions of that, and then get benches and have that be a nice.
That'd be nice.
Great idea.
It is.
Again, it's doable, it just takes that coordination, so I'll have to work with the PTA to either come up with another committee to take that on. But again, I think that would be beautiful out there. And then my big thing I'm so excited about, the arrival and dismissal at Pearlie, as you know, has just been an age-old problem. And in the spring, Ann Donahue had a brilliant idea.
I didn't do it.
And you just mentioned this brilliant idea, and I have shamelessly taken it and run with it. And now I'm thrilled. I think it's going to be perfect. In the front, you had suggested, why don't you just have teachers park there? I was like, oh my God, it's like,
That way
that's
they don't get stuck on the
brilliant.
buses.
Brilliant. So Jack, when he was putting lines in the parking lot, I asked him to put as many as he could around the circle. So we have 16 spaces around the front, which is perfect for classroom teachers, and then a spot for Barry Belanger and Kim Leonard, who are at the school all the time for meetings. So that will be, and when the classroom teachers come in, there will be no movement. So the only cars that should come in the driveway are cars that need to access the handicap parking or the buses. So then at the end of the, before dismissal, we can block that off, and then there should be nothing that interferes with the coming and going of the buses. Then in the parking lot, numbers 1 through 12, which is one whole line, will be visitor parking. And again, just as we've always done, though, we will block off the parking lot in the afternoon at around 2:35, so that, again, no cars will be pulling in or out. So if a parent has pulled in, they would have to just wait until children are safely gone. Then we open it up for pre-K parents to come in. So again, part of it is getting that message out, and it will have to be, I'll do a Connect Ed, we'll put it on our website, word of mouth, newsletter and that kind of thing. But once we get the word out, it really, I'm excited that should cut down on a lot of problems in the
We'll
afternoon.
be a lot safer.
Yeah.
It'll just be a lot safer.
I mean, it will be a lot safer. So I thank you for that idea.
You're welcome.
And then I wanted to just finish by saying that today in particular, there were teachers, secretaries, everybody was in. And I said to somebody, this is like school except without the children. So walking around, I felt like,
If you called, we would have sent them down. Really?
well, soon enough. But there was a book, Miss Bindergarten Gets Ready for Kindergarten, and where she's busy getting ready, and I thought, this is just like that book, the rooms are ready, they're sparkling clean, the floors are beautiful, carpets are clean, names are on the cubbies, and now we're ready to go. We just need different children. So.
There's just two things I'd add. The conditions assessment on remember that Mr. Hart was going to do that. He has completed that, so we're moving forward with that. And then in terms of the replacement of the Pearly roof, I have been working with the town on that, and I have had a conversation briefly, and we'll have a follow-up conversation tomorrow with Charles Sacra. I think you remember I might have mentioned his name. He was the engineer who was so helpful to us in the temporary solution. He has been asked by the town to basically make a proposal as to what a solution would be to replace the roof, a pitched roof there, and so he's going to follow up, basically follow up with me with information regarding what that looks like. So we are moving forward. Now that obviously that roof project wouldn't happen until the next summer, but when we worked on the temporary solution, the roofing company did it in such a way that it's good for, at least the year that, we will need before we put something up. So I want to reassure people that it's a safe roof. Remember, it's the concrete roof, and what we've done is we put the rubberized coating on the top, which will protect it from the elements. But obviously, if we get a lot of snow this winter, we will be making sure that the snow is removed appropriately and in a timely fashion. But I'm not concerned, based on what I've been told by structural engineers, that the temporary roof situation that we have will not get us through this winter and will not be sufficient to allow us to wait until next summer to replace the roof.
Great.
All right?
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Margaret.
Thank you.
Good
Good
luck
luck
this
next
year.
week.
Thank you.
Okay,
Hi, Donna.
welcome back. Do you want to talk about your tour of Pembroke?
Yep. I want to thank Chrissy Higgins for the beautiful flagpole flowers. She does those
Oh,
every year.
she does it,
goes in
and
there and
then-
plants
yeah.
and mulches and waters them. She goes over there every day and waters them too. And a special thanks to Barbie and Stu for organizing all
absolutely.
the parents for the cleanup of the courtyards. The courtyards look amazing.
They do.
They really look great.
That's a lot of work.
It was a lot of work and hot days. People were, and the kids that came out, high school kids that came out, and I saw like 4 high school students that hot day that I was there.
They worked very hard.
And they were so good. So I think that's great to see that.
Yeah, it was great.
That's great. So thank you to all those people. The halls, were the floors were the first thing I noticed. They were so shiny and the light was reflecting off of them. And the mats when you walked in are red. I always thought they were black. I didn't know that. I think the most impressive thing I saw was the leveled library. That whole loft in the
amazing?
library has been completely cleaned out, and Donna has painstakingly created a leveled library for all the grades up there.
Yeah.
What'd you do with everything? I mean, there was a lot of stuff up
We
there.
rearranged and put things.
Your surface.
Well, remember with a cutting of 2 positions or 2 classrooms, that allowed her to actually have classroom space. So
okay.
some of the people who were in the loft are now in an appropriate
We used to
classroom
have
space.
we used to have classrooms up there. Actually, had 2
Right.
teaching areas up there.
And they were all blocked off.
Yeah, you
so,
couldn't
and,
see.
and now it's open and
nice.
beautiful. There's 6 new computers in the library as well that the kids can do research on. there's two important changes, a language-based classroom and a social and emotional classroom for the grades 2 and 3. And I think you said the state's coming out to visit, what, tomorrow? So they'll be happy to see those changes. Those people are not up in the loft or in a closet anymore. It really, it looked great. You know, she highly praised Mike Anderson and all the work that he had done and the coordinating he'd done. And, you know, the library carpet still looks like the library
I
carpet.
know,
And the gym
I
floor
know.
still looks like the gym floor, but baby steps.
Baby
The rest of the floors look fabulous. And the bathrooms were clean.
Yes.
You
They
could
were
even see
painted
grout.
though, right? They were
Painted it,
painted, yeah.
painted, yep. Grout was
Stop.
white.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes, big
It looked good.
improvements.
Good, that's great.
So, yeah, I would like to thank, and thanks, Ann, for giving that update. I want to thank, like, Mike Anderson, who really did a fabulous job this summer. He kind of was the point person and really, you know, helped out this summer. And, you know, Steve and Joe Iannacone and Eric Pachillis, they really did an outstanding job. I was able to get my administrative assistant off the Cape, and she came in for a couple of weeks to get us ready. And I think, you know, it was her first time opening the school, so she realized the amount of work. So, so she actually worked extra days and late tonight. So I really appreciate all the hard work Diane Collins did to get us ready. Our staff this summer did some professional development with Teachers 21 on small group instruction, and staff members also volunteered to revise with the new Common Core standards, revise all our units of study in reading and writing. So they've done a lot of work this summer to kind of get ready for September.
I think it's important to note, too, when they come to these professional development and do that work Donna's talking about, they aren't paid for that. That's not, they don't get additional money for that. And, you know, it is above and beyond the call of duty.
And I can't emphasize enough how much, the last 2 weeks, teachers have been in, meeting by grade levels. Wednesday, there was a special education staff was meeting. Today, the third grade team, and there's been open houses, so,
Still
you
there
know.
tonight when I was there.
Yeah, in August, you know, the teachers were just leaving when I was coming over here at 6 o'clock tonight. So, you know, people put in a lot of time to make sure the classrooms are perfect for the kids when they come in. So I can't commend the hard work they do to prepare for this school year. This summer, we had Pembroke Academy. Elizabeth Carroll, Mike Walsh, and Virginia Bergson did a great job with Pembroke Academy. Kids had a great time and did all sorts of fun activities. It's always very successful. I want to thank our parents, again, Bobby and Stu, and, you know, the parents that did the flagpole and all their donations, because that really, you know, tells that it's a community effort, and that makes us feel really good, and takes a lot of pride in the school, and I think the kids see that, and we model that for them, and I think the staff sees that, and I think it's really good, you know, and when the school year opens, everybody's on the same page, and everybody's really trying to work hard for the kids and give them the best we can. We have the new level library. We have a new, 2 new special education classrooms. We're going to be doing the Big 6 research model in the library with our new bay of 6 computers. At Pembroke, we always were short with computers. We only had the 1 computer classroom. So we now had the classroom on a cot, and we never had enough. So now with the 6 in the library, the teachers are very excited. I just have another opportunity to get kids on the computer. We have new mulch in the playground. We are happy to announce we have a screen in every classroom, so they can open the windows when we go
that's
back
good.
next week. We put up our 5th grade picture, and it's significantly bigger than the other
It's pretty
pictures
funny.
because they'll have 155 students.
It's a very wide.
It's really long. It takes up a little bit of space.
Class
in the wall,
will be
but-
remembered.
but it's, you know, it's nice, the kids come back and they look at their picture and when they were at Pembroke, so that we started that tradition. We also put up the school play, so we have our school plays, so that's up. We thank our 5th grade committee for the new sign we have at Pembroke, which we hope to keep parents updated with the new signs, so that's great. And last but not least, thank Barry Belanger, because today he worked from, you know, first thing this morning to, you know, about 5 o'clock tonight, trying to get everybody up to date, and everybody has a computer, and, you know, we have the new laptops that are going in a 4th grade classroom. He got that, the wireless hooked up. So we're in really good shape at this point.
Great. Thank you very
All
much.
right.
Any questions?
No.
Good luck.
you, Donna.
Good
luck.
All righty, next, our new middle school principal, Mr. Brian Gill.
Yep, come on up, Brian.
Come on up.
Hello there.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
It's been a busy 10 days for you?
9 days.
9 days, excuse me.
So we've accomplished all our goals, and I'm done
Perfect.
now. 9 days.
All right, meeting's adjourned.
So thanks for having me. I'm going to take a little bit of a different tack. First of all, I'd like to take a moment just to thank everyone, the school committee, Mrs. Jacobs, parents, the families, and the staff of the town of Georgetown. People have been wonderful to me. over these past 9 days, and it's made what could have been a difficult transition for me a lot easier. I left, just to tell you a little bit about my background, I was in the same place for 15 years in Winthrop as a middle school teacher, as a middle school assistant principal, and then finally as an elementary principal. And Winthrop's very similar to Georgetown, I think, in the respect that it's a small, tight-knit community and people care very much about it. The difference for me is I was born there and I'm about 4 generations deep there and knew everyone or was related to the people that I didn't know. And now I come to Georgetown and I'm an outsider looking in, and people have made me feel as though I've been here forever. So I certainly appreciate that, and it's been a nice way to start off. That being said, as far as building readiness goes, I'm going to let Mr. Lucia speak to that when he gets up here, because he was in charge of most of that before I got here. I'm still trying to find out where all of the rooms are. And as far as staff and family readiness, I could speak to that a little bit. In the 9 days that I have been here, I've had an opportunity to meet a fair amount of the staff. People have been in most days working and getting things ready, again, on their own time, and I think that's a testament to them. We had a grade 6 orientation the other day, which was extremely well attended. I estimated probably 90 parents and about 130 out of the 152 incoming students, which was great. Had an opportunity to spend an hour or two with parents and students, meeting people, trying to start to establish some connections, and it was a very good time, well received. The ice cream was fantastic. We didn't run out. Everyone cleaned up, so it was great. But again, I'd like to thank Julie Lamoli and the grade 6 staff and all the parents and students. There was a lot of hard work that went into organizing that, and the 8th grade mentors did a fantastic job. I took a little bit of the tour myself, so we're all, the 6th graders and I are all on the same page. We're learning this together, so I actually think that's a positive thing. So I would like to make a couple of dates known, and these are pending availability, and I will check with Carol later on these, but I know we have an open house on the 13th of September from 6 to 8, and I am going to add in another hour prior to that from 5 to 6 o'clock with Peter's permission and availability to use the cafeteria for a meet and greet for parents prior to, and then I'll make myself available during the open house as well. Although I'm not completely familiar with the design of open house, so I don't know if I'll have the option.
Yeah, Tuesday.
So that would be, I believe it's a Tuesday.
Yep.
And then, just to simplify, the following Tuesday, which is the 20th of September, from 6 to 7 p.m., I'm going to hold a Q&A, just a question and answer period for any parents who'd like to attend. I'm pretty certain I won't have all the answers, but one focus that's going to be my top priority is to try to enlighten people, myself included, and unravel a little bit of the mystery of the math placement process, which seems to be a little bit of a hot topic right now.
Really?
So I want to make that.
Every year.
I'm going to spend a week or so really deciphering this and speaking to people, and hopefully I will be able to provide some answers.
Was it 6 o'clock? 6 to 7?
6 to 7, yes.
And again, like, people that are listening at home,
not gonna be
look
enough
on the
time.
website, they'll be posted. But tentatively, we're looking at the September 13th and September 20th.
Correct.
So, but look on the website before you go and show up, in case things change.
Yep.
Which they can.
And again, we do have some new hires at the middle school. Some were in place before I arrived. The ones that were still outstanding, I expect after some reference checks and some phone calls tomorrow to have all of them wrapped up before the close of business tomorrow, which will complete us for the year. Okay, just a quick thing about some of my ideas of goals for the building this year. I know it's been, not the building itself, but I know the middle school in particular has been in somewhat of a state of transition over the last few years, and there's been quite a bit of change. I'm keenly aware of that. You know, our number one goal, obviously, is student achievement, and I've referenced and tried to memorize a little bit the school improvement plan that's been developed. It's extremely comprehensive. It has some lofty goals, but goals that can be worked on. It is the roadmap for success, so that certainly will be our roadmap that we will use. One of my main goals, however, is to establish a true middle school identity for that third floor, to give those kids a place to call home within the high school, and establish a true middle school identity and philosophy. You know, let them understand and let people understand and make people aware that although the middle school is housed in the high school, it is still a middle school. And it's a place where there's going to be a gradual transition for kids coming from the elementary and then heading towards the compartmentalized system of the high school. And I'll do everything in my power to make sure that is the case, that there is a gradual transition, so there's not a whole lot of shock value there, so that people feel comfortable to learn, feel safe to take risks. Try to establish a positive climate of self-esteem, self-responsibility, and self-discipline. And I think that includes everyone, the students and the staff. And the third thing, which is part of the school improvement plan, is to continue to establish close contact with the parents in the community in regards to what we're doing in the school, and to make it an inviting place to be, and just have open communication, which I think can solve a lot of problems little problems before they turn into big ones. As far as my role, in addition to being the instructional leader of the building, I think part of this first year, and maybe the first few years, is to provide some consistency and support to both the families and the staff at the middle school, and to look at how we can come together as a team and try to build something incredible there. I think it's a great opportunity to do that. It's fairly new, the principal's role, and you have an unbelievable group of people up there who seem to be very dedicated through all they've been through. And there's a lot to tap into there. So I'm looking forward to it. And again, I just wanted to thank everyone for making me feel so welcome, and we're ready to go as well.
All right, thank you,
I
Brian.
was glad the
That's
parents
great.
didn't scare you away the other day.
No.
They were asking some pre-pointed questions.
Yes, they were.
I
Yeah,
was
but you know what? There's real concern there. You know, I have a son going into middle school this year, and being a middle school principal, you would think it wouldn't faze me at all, but I'm in panic mode too, and I know what to expect generally, you know, so it's, I live in their world, and I know what's happening at home, and the stress and the worry, and it's a big jump, you know, and I'll try to reinforce them that especially with the sixth grade, I guess, because it's brand new to them, jumping from the sixth grade to a middle school in itself is a huge jump, emotionally, physically, psychologically. They're walking into a high school building that happens to have a middle school on the third floor, which can be a double jump and twice as scary, you know, and we'll acclimate them. They'll be just fine. You know, they'll be just fine. They have, as Mr. Patella said at the sixth grade orientation, guys, you need to understand something. I know you're worried. No one's ever been stuffed in a locker. As a matter of fact, the seniors in high school don't really care about you guys. You're just in the way. So they will leave you alone. And the sixth graders seem to be fine with that. There was a big sigh of relief. So hopefully we will continue to work towards the goals that are in place, and we'll have a little fun doing it, and we'll pull together. So
Okay.
Good luck, Brian.
Thank you.
Yes,
Good
welcome,
luck.
Good luck,
thank you.
good luck with that math then.
Yeah, I know.
She'll be there.
Maybe you should have set aside, no, I set aside now wrong, perfect.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, good luck next week. All right, Dave, I didn't ask you to say anything
Sometime we're gonna
about
let
the-
you go first, Peter.
I didn't know if you wanted to say
Oh, that's
anything
okay.
about the middle
Well,
high school.
no, you already addressed it. I think the only thing I would mention is, I think with the big sixth grade class coming in, which you guys are contributing to,
try to
I think they've done a good job in, being creative and using the space, to make it accommodating for a big class coming in. So that struck me.
Yeah,
You're not gonna comment on the grass on the football field?
Oh, well, I guess I have to, well, for full disclosure, I have two boys playing on the football team.
One being the captain.
One being the captain, that I was very, very impressed with the quality of the football field.
There we go.
There's actually grass, it's amazing, and there's not clover all over the place. It's really, it looks really good.
paths.
What's that?
I like those paths up to the backfields.
Oh,
I
that's-
have to go up there every
yeah.
weekend for some.
I like the idea that the stairs from the, to the lower parking lot
Those are fixed.
were fixed.
Yeah,
Oh,
I noticed,
that's
I noticed
good.
that on Tuesday.
So I don't think there's any,
Oh, you're done.
do you have
I
anything to add?
got a Mac lab, so you're all set.
All right, well,
There can't be anything left.
no, there's not much. I want to thank everyone too. Mike Anderson, he's been wonderful, really a godsend, and Warren Young and his staff, and the sheriff's department for
They did a
for
ton of
having
yourself.
making those arrangements to have the inmates come and do some work, and we've been doing that for about 4 years now, and we will continue to do that, and maybe expand upon that, because I just learned today that they actually work on the weekends. I never knew that before, so we usually try to schedule that so there's minimal contact with kids, so the weekend will be a great time. We just finished in high school our 9th grade orientation last week, which went pretty well. There was about, I counted 85 kids, which is pretty decent. There's about 120 kids, so it's a pretty good showing. We had our peer mentor training, both in the middle and the high school last week also, or 2 weeks before that, so that is complete, and that's a very popular thing. I want to thank the PTA for funding that, as they usually do on an annual basis. We've had minimal turnover in staff in the high school this year. I have a new secretary. My secretary resigned right at the end of the school year, and my new secretary, Rudy Cudmore, started a couple weeks ago, and that's great to have her on board. And she has a little experience in the school because she was the clerk typist in the middle school. Denise Medallia retired, of course. We have a new business teacher that's also going to take over the school store. We hired a new position with the override, a .4 biology teacher, and we're still looking for a computer technician. Tom Savage is going to retire. Tom's been here a long time. I thought he said 14 years, I don't know.
Yeah, he does the hardware, strictly the hardware.
So I think I'm going to be sending the superintendent a candidate tomorrow, hopefully. And we're looking for an in-school suspension monitor, which is usually a challenging position. The person just resigned because he got a teaching job. It's usually a job that people take that are trying to get their foot in the door into education. So he was able to get a math position somewhere. So we'll try to have a couple leads on 2 people. So hopefully we can get that going real quick. And that position, for everybody to understand, is that we usually don't have someone in suspension every day, so that person saves us money out of the sub account because they're a substitute teacher when we don't have somebody. So we do want to get somebody going pretty quickly. The schedule looks pretty good. It's complete. It's relatively well balanced. Books and supplies have been ordered. We have most of that stuff in. On the athletic front, we have a new athletic director, Bill Adams Sr., who was a retired athletic director from Linfield High School for many years, so he's very well experienced. It's part of a master plan where he is going to, I should say, we also hired Chris DeFranco, who is going to be the permanent athletic director. since all of this stuff really was developed kind of at the end of the school year, we needed some transition time, and we really didn't budget for that athletic position to be split. So we really are coming right in on budget, and Bill will be the AD until March 1st. Chris will transition with him, and Bill will mentor him during the winter season. Chris will coach soccer in the fall, and then Chris will be ready to go on March 1st for the spring season, and thereon after. And we'll have to discuss how we want to handle that position in terms of teaching and stuff like that. Football started on Monday. All sports started double sessions today. I would like to mention that the Cape Ann League and the Northeast Conference merged in football, but that will not affect us because we are still in the Cape Ann League small, and we have the exact same schedule that we had before. But you might hear that we merge leagues. We ordered a bunch of furniture. All of that has been received, deployed. The building and the grounds look great. We aerated the football field July 1st, which is still a little late. We're still trying to get that done in May. But the reason why, in my opinion, that there's grass is because when we've done it in the past, we've done it 2 weeks before we started our fall program, and the grass never got a chance to grow. So we utilized our irrigation system, and we have grass, and hopefully that will pay dividends if we have a relatively dry fall, that we'll be able to play on that field right through Thanksgiving, hopefully. Of course, Peter Durkee, thanks to Peter Durkee and his crew for rebuilding that access road and taking the steep pitch out of it. But in building some stairs to walk up to a path where you can walk up there rather than going through that washed out, I don't know what you want to call it, but
I called it a goat path.
yeah, we're in great position right now. It looks wonderful, and we were able to net 4 additional parking spaces because of that, where we moved the road, and hopefully we won't have any washout there anymore either, because that was just a big.
Yeah, the way he pitched it,
Yeah.
he did it so that the water will flow in the direction that won't build up.
The small gym is better than it was. The guys coming tomorrow to we weren't happy with how we completed the jobs. Just come back tomorrow and finish. It's still a little rough. We do have to do some work on the outside of the building, though, because that is a water issue, and Mike thinks that he and Jack Howland can do it on their own at minimal expense, to put a drain in front of the door and hopefully channel some of that water that kind of just all settles down in that area, and it's getting underneath the floor. We had some significant electrical work done, especially in the graphic design lab. That is complete. We are replacing the carpets in the main area with tile and a new mat, very large mat right when you walk in. And we may be, hopefully, if it's the price is right, that we'll be able to get rid of all the carpet on the first floor before school opens. So still don't know how that's going to work, because the floors are yellow right now, and we're going to be doing some waxing during the weekend. Our HVAC issues, we hope will be resolved with the contract that the town signed. There are some things that were not covered by that. We have not had air conditioning at all in the auditorium since probably last fall. There were 4 compressors that cooled the auditorium. All 4 of them were down. 2 of them were able to be repaired. The other 2 need to be replaced, and we're looking for a price on that. So we should, when all the teachers come back and we're meeting in there on Monday, it should be cool enough. The main office has no heat or air conditioning. We got a window air conditioner temporarily, but that is supposed to be covered by at no cost by the town contract. So hopefully, they haven't begun yet, and we hope that will get underway very shortly, and certainly before it starts to get cold, because this was very cold in there over the winter. I think the heat went down in February, so it's been cold. we've had some new rooms. So we have 3 new rooms. And I know I say this every year, there's no room at the middle high school, but I think I really mean it this time. We added a room, we moved the art room on the 3rd floor to accommodate the additional middle 6th grade teacher that we added. We split the wood shop in half. So the first half, well, the back half of the woodworking, the shop is now the art room. We have some cabinets and partitions there dividing that. We'll see how it goes. I think really the only issue, I think we can live with the noise, but the sawdust might be an issue, so we have to really stay on top of that. There's also 2 middle school science classes in that room. We also added the theater arts program. That needed to go somewhere, so we moved the weight room to the storage room where it used to be. Created a nice room in the former weight room, which is a nice theater arts room. There's like a portable stage in there. There's new desks with fold-up arms that can be moved aside when they need some stage room. So we think that will be very good. And then we took down the last general purpose computer lab in the school and put our language-based program up there. Which brings me to technology. So rather than the classes going to the labs are now going to go to the classes. So we have 2 mobile labs. One is an iPad lab, one is a netbook lab. And I think they're going to be very popular. I know that the teachers there are some teachers that want to sign up for the iPad lab for like 3 months. So
right.
we have to see how that goes and probably come up with some on-the-fly protocols and policies about limits on that stuff. We're going to have training for the iPads. The teachers should know how to use a PC already. That shouldn't be a problem at all. The iPads, they probably aren't too familiar with. So we have 2 days of training. Unfortunately, we were very restricted on how we could do that. They had to come 2 days, they had to be consecutive days. So the least disruptive way I could do that was to put it on the end of the October Professional Development Day. So October 6th, the day before that day, will be a day of training. We're going to train 16 super users. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to get coverage. It's going to be a tremendous challenge to try to find coverage for those people, but it's the only way that it could happen. And I wanted to do it as soon as I could, but by the time all of the agreements, the lease agreements, things were processed and we were authorized to do that, they were already into October with their schedule. So they're going to be back-to-back days on the 6th and the 7th, and then we're going to share our knowledge with everyone. So I think that'll be work out very, very well. We're still waiting on the CAD lab. The CAD lab is not in yet. I expect it in very shortly. The netbook lab, we have 6 netbooks at this time. I'm not sure why only 6 came. The cart's here, everything's here, but the netbooks seem to be trickling in. But we'll be up and running in very short order. That brings us to a district issue, I guess, the network. The network is in trouble. Last week, our mail went down and crashed, and it was unlike any time that the mail has gone down before, because the database that holds everyone's mailboxes was corrupted. The reason why it went down is because the main server for the network is in the high school, in the middle high school, and it is the middle high school file server. And it serves as the main server for the domain. Everything connects through that. It's what's the term, Ann? It's reached its
useful life.
It's all of our servers have reached their useful life.
They're almost all 6 years old, so their useful life is 5. I'm gonna guess.
Well, especially the use they get.
Yeah.
They're too small.
And the network has been growing, so this particular server, especially on its C drive, is too small. So when that shuts down, the mail shuts down. The mail has to authenticate to that server. So to make a very long story short, we are going to have to make an investment very shortly. The high school server will not last more than 3 or 4 months in terms of its capacity. We have different options, and we should really,
Well, maybe budget and
Yeah,
finance. You
say
could
budget and
come
finance.
with a
we'll-
proposal for
if
budget
you-
and finance.
We'll discuss all of our options. We'll schedule a meeting.
We need to schedule a
And we'll
meeting
have
soon, yeah.
to sit down and talk about what we're
it's
looking
gonna
at.
range from 5 to 35,000, depending upon, but all of the money, if you don't go the big ticket right away, you're really gonna have to re-spend what you spend now,
We're gonna just have to look at.
July
what-
1,
yeah.
if that's when we do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the bottom line. I'm very worried when the teachers get back on Monday and they try to access their mail. We know that our mail is working right now, and everyone who's using it, their mailboxes work. Some have lost mail permanently. I just got an email from a teacher on someone else's account that works, saying that theirs won't work. So I'm really worried that that's, the whole district's gonna try to do that, and we might have a lot of that. So, just an FYI.
Okay, so we could get some information and have a meeting about that.
Yep.
Peter, do you want to before you finish, just talk just a minute about the NEASC?
Oh, yeah, I should have mentioned that, yes. I'm going to mail my special progress report. I don't know if you guys got a chance to read, it came during the summertime. We've pretty much
packet.
completely satisfied all of our recommendations that were made when they came 5 years ago. There's one issue that they want me to write a special report about. That is our counselee ratio. They recommend 300 to 1. We are in compliance in the high school, even though our guidance director has a full load, which is not ideal. We're way over that. There's 417 kids in the middle school, I think, and 1 counselor. So, they want to know how we meet students' needs. And with the help of Steve Umbro, with a lot of help from Steve Umbro, we came up with it's not a plan, it's what we do. And we think it works. And I'm very surprised that they brought that up, because in the 2-year report, I said pretty much the same thing, and they were fine with it. Now they're not.
Yeah.
So, we also put in a disclaimer that this will not be an issue in 5 years, because we will be seeking high school accreditation only, now that we have 2 principals. And we could do that now if we wanted to, and I think that's a decision that we will all have to make if they don't accept what I told them. But when Janet Allison came last spring, she highly recommended that we stay with the middle high school accreditation, at least until we begin that self-study, which will probably come up in about 3 years. So I will, that's due September 1st. I will mail that out tomorrow, and if the mail works, email it. You have to do it electronically. And hopefully, they'll be happy. I don't think that's going to take us off warning, because, as Janet told us, until the new school is built and we're in it, we're going to be on warning.
Right.
So.
But I think the important thing to note there, though, is if you remember when Janet Allison was here, she said that it is their process that if you have a building recommendations, that if you spend any more than 2 years rectifying those, you almost always break on probation right away. And the fact that we have been 6 years and they have seen that we're making progress, and I think for the public's benefit, the fact that the commission notes in here that as a result of they commend the efforts of the school, the district personnel, and the local governing body. I think they mean also the community, in garnering the approval of a $1.2 million override vote, which provided increased instructional staff, additional technology, reduction in student athletic fees, additional support, services and materials, and then they actually go on to list all of the bulleted things that we were able to accomplish as a result of the override. And I firmly believe that the fact that we got that override is why we are fully accredited and remain on warning. I think if the override did not pass, that it was very likely that we would be on probation.
Yeah, the override really cleared up all of our issues, and kind of now the focus is it's a facility issue.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Peter, thank you. Good luck next week.
Thank you.
Okay, moving along. Any questions on the superintendent's information for the committee? Subcommittee reports, we need to have a budget and finance committee meeting. We haven't met since the last meeting, so. Governance?
We don't have anything set up. We'll make a list with Carol and figure
Okay.
out what we're going to
Yep.
work on for the year.
Okay.
Perfect. Dave, negotiating.
I think what we're working on now is just trying to get some dates lined up to follow up with the custodians,
Okay.
right?
Right.
Is this a new contract for the teacher year that you negotiate?
Coming up.
Coming
This
up.
is the last year of
This
the
is the year
current.
you negotiate.
Yeah,
those.
we'll
The
set up
start, yeah.
October-ish, shall we
when
start,
it
we'll
starts.
start
Yeah.
talking about it.
Yep.
Nothing else, no old business. Under new business, we just did the tour of the schools commentary. Declaration of surplus materials. As Mike Anderson noted, he provided a list of the surplus materials that he would like to get rid of.
And there will be more.
Yeah. So the chair will entertain a motion that the Georgetown School Committee declare the items identified by Mike Anderson as surplus and is so authorized to dispose of these materials in a manner that is in the best interest in the town of Georgetown.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, next is the acceptance of the athletics donation. We were-
Right, yeah, we were able to gather some money from people who made donations, businesses made donations in memory of the class of 1988 graduate Patrick Thompson, who passed away. We have $2,000 that we need to accept on behalf of the Thompson family. And it said a motorcycle, memorial motorcycle run took place in July in memory of Patrick, and the funds collected are donated to purchase new equipment for the athletic department.
So for which we are extremely
Extremely
grateful,
grateful.
and it was very thoughtful of the family to think of us during this difficult time for them. The chair will entertain a motion to accept the donation of $2,000 in the memory of Patrick Thompson to the Georgetown Athletic Fund for the purpose of purchasing new athletic equipment.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, the motion carries. Next is an acceptance of a technology donation. We had a very generous anonymous donor who donated 2 iPads, 2 projectors, and 2 Airport Express units, which are probably the
Who's that?
wireless. I'm imagining it's the wireless,
Oh.
or something that complements this.
Donna, do you
And-
know what an airport express unit is?
That's a wireless access.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
And these were donated to the Pearly School. So the chair will entertain a motion to accept the technology donation from this anonymous donor as detailed in the Apple quote for the Pearly School with gratitude.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. And to this donor, thank you very much. We're always amazed and very grateful for these donations. Finally, the approval of school home plans. Dave Dempsey included a list of the homeschool plans for several families. So the chair will entertain a motion to approve the homeschool plans as recommended by David Dempsey.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion?
no.
This is a partial list, right?
Yeah, we have more coming in?
We have more coming in, and actually, I'm meeting with a new family that just moved into town on Monday, and they have 3 students that they homeschool as well.
Okay, great, thank you.
But Dave, would you say it's true? Because I remember when I first came here, it looked like there was quite a long list.
Last year there was a long list.
And was there? 'Cause I thought last year the list was much shorter.
No, it was still pretty, this looks like it's maybe a quarter.
This is a quarter, but this isn't all of them, because I know people.
Yeah.
so,
Right,
That aren't on here.
right, yeah, okay. Because I thought when we studied the data on that, we saw that there were fewer families, but that can happen with, graduations and people leaving the town and all that kind of, it does change.
So did I make a motion?
Yeah,
Did I,
we already have a motion in a second.
we had further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No, motion carries. At this point, I just have a couple things I just want to say. First is, as everyone mentioned, thank you to the town for supporting the override. I think you can see from all the comments tonight that money's really been put to good use and will hopefully make for an exciting year for all of our students. And also, the names that kept coming up in all of the discussions were Mike Anderson and Barry Belanger. So thank you tremendously to the both of you for all the work that you've done in getting schools ready to open, as well as the other town departments, including Peter Durkee and Wayne Snow for all of their work, which without them we couldn't have done some of the amazing things that we were able to do. And also all the parents for all of their efforts, from helping Barbie and Stu organize weeding out the courtyards to all of the other, great things that you do to planting, plants at the beginning of the school year, and all the donations of school supplies. Without you, we couldn't do this. And good luck to everybody. Have a good year. Oh, excuse me, Mr. Lucia.
I forgot a very important thank you. Red Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, thank you.
When our mail went down, Red donated one night of service. It took him 2 nights, and he came in on his own, and
Ineligible.
So thank you to Red Kelly for
yeah,
all of
we
his
wouldn't
help.
have mail right now if it wasn't for Red.
We appreciate it greatly if you're out there listening. At this point, we are going to adjourn into executive session, Chapter 30A, Section 21, Paragraph 3, to discuss a litigation issue, and we will not be returning to regular session. So we need
And
a...
could I ask you to include Dave Dempsey as well?
Oh, and Dave Dempsey will be included in this meeting. And this is a roll call vote, so Barbie? Yes.
Yes, perfect.
Ann? Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, good night, everyone.
Motion to adjourn.
Nice job.